I guess I got to turn on my microphone. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Cutaway Security ICS Friday Infosec chat. It's September 9th, 2022. Thank you for joining us. I see Wes. I see you out there, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me, man. Hey, I do have a question, Wes. Are you my TA next week? I think you are. So that's pretty cool. We'll get to if so, we'll get to interact a little bit on virtual. So that's what I'm hoping for. But everybody, thank you for joining. If you're joining us on LinkedIn, if you're joining us on YouTube, thank you very much for coming back and joining us. So that everybody remembers, I can see the comments in LinkedIn. So if you are joining us on LinkedIn, please feel free to give comments. You can't see my comments back to you. I can't do that, but I can answer your question as well. Yes, I want to, but unfortunately that LinkedIn hasn't done it. So I don't see usernames on LinkedIn. I just see that you had a comment and going from there. So thank you very much for joining us. And I hope everybody's having a great week. Look, this is the end of the week. So we're here to kind of talk about our weeks, talk about what's going on. The only reason why I have one slide in an agenda is, to talk about what I've been doing, but certainly I want to hear from y'all. So let me know. And it does look like we see that Wes is joining me. So next week, I will be in Denver. I'm going to Denver and to teach ICS 410, one more class, and so I get to get out there and hang out with people and interact with them, talk about their experiences, and also provide them a little bit of training around industrial control systems, SCADA, from my point of view. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to it. And I finally get to interact with Wes. I haven't seen him since ICS Summit, and that was just in passing because I got COVID. So hopefully this time, hopefully I'll stay. I'll stay well, but Wes will be joining me he'll be my virtual TA. Couldn't think of a better person to provide that support, and I look forward to seeing you out there, Wes. So I know we'll talk on Monday, and we'll get the lowdown. But everybody else, thank you for joining. Good to see y'all, and let us know what happened during your week. Let us know if you had anything interesting that was going on. If questions came up, what was hard? I mean, what was hard? What was hard for your week? And because you know what, we all have issues. We all have things that are a challenge. And if we just keep that to ourselves, then how do we grow? How do we learn? How do we get other people to help us? So certainly that's something that I think everybody needs to get a little bit better at. Go out there. Some of the things I teach my boys is, hey, I want to see you try. I want to see you get out there. I want to see you make an effort. And when you come back to me, when you're asking for help, I want you to start the conversation with, here are the things that I've done. Here's the things that I thought. Here are the things that I attempted and I didn't, I was not successful. So can you help me? And what that does is that allows me to get more invested. I understand where they're at with it. I know that they're just not asking me to do it for them, that type of thing. And I think everybody wants that. When you're coming to a mentor or a leader or somebody else, it's definitely a good way to do it. Kevin Martin, this is interesting. Published a first CVE today. That is pretty exciting. First of all, congratulations. That's huge. That's let us know the number. I'll call it up in a tab and we'll look over it if you want us to. So, but if it's actually gotten out there yet, so that I know that some of that lags a little bit, but maybe it's gotten out there. So let us know the number, and we'll review it to see if you made some recommendations for mitigation as well. So we'll do it live. Doing it live, man. Cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah, let's check this out. So let's go ahead and type this in. So I'm going to start typing this in. We're going to do it live. CVE. This is really exciting. 9959. So let's see what we got here. Oh, it hasn't published yet. Okay. Well, let's check it out. Let's like I said, let's do it live. So I'm going to click over and just do a search on it real quick. Burp, burp. Oh, it didn't go in. Oh, there it is. So, oh yeah, no, we've got a CV report details. Let's get a slide up there. Let's present a slide. So stop screen sharing. And we'll go over to our tabs. We want to share a tab. Let's see what we got here. All right. So CVE.report. I'm not sure the site that this not published yet. So we can see right there that it's not published, but we know it's out there. I will be watching this. It's going to be pretty awesome. And we'll take a look at it. Next time we come out, next time we come to the stream, hopefully we'll get out there. But Kevin, congratulations. That's a huge deal. I'm waiting for the day. Actually, I'm waiting for the day that I do come up with a 0 day because there's a street that's right around the corner from here. Literally, it's right over there. It's called Weber and O'Day. And I'm not going to take a picture of Weber and O'Day sign until I come up with something. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. So congratulations, Kevin. That's pretty awesome. So it's on your GitHub too. So we'll check it out. I'm going to leave up the tab and I'll be checking it out. Go out and search it, follow it. Look for Kevin's GitHub. Kevin, if you can put your GitHub in the comments, we'll that way everybody has it, and I can go check it out later as well. So I'm sure I've got it linked somewhere, but I want to take care of it. It's destiny. Absolutely. Absolutely. So congratulations on that, man. Let's see. Okay. So what else did I do this week? Just kind of drive the conversation. And yesterday I actually, I was in Tampa. I was in Tampa, Florida, just hanging out, and seeing some of my friends and ignoring some of my other friends that are in Tampa. Actually I went to Tampa virtually, and I got asked as one of the people that I interact with on Discord. They reached out to me and they said, "Hey, do you want to talk at the Neon Temple?" And I had no idea what the Neon Temple was, but of course, me, I said yes. Basically, I gave about an hour-long talk just about my knowledge around control and information security within control environments. I talked about the thing that I used to kind of like the driver of the story were things that I didn't understand about the control environments, and and just talked about giving some of the basic knowledge that I typically give, but using it from the standpoint of I came in it from information security background, from the corporate environment, and I didn't realize it was going to be like this when I got here. And it went over pretty well, I think. It was one of those virtual conferences where you don't see any of the people. I just saw the one person that was presenting for me. They kind of relayed some of the questions, but my understanding is we got some good feedback from that. Got some really good questions. So especially if you're in the Tampa area, but if you're looking for something just to kind of be involved with, go check out the Neon Temple. I've got the links right there. It's a hacker guild out of Tampa, Florida, and it's neontemple.net. So you can go check it out. They're just an organization, I think, that gets together and talks about. I don't think it's an information security background. I think it's more of just one of those hacker groups, and they get together to talk about different subjects. And it just so happens this time they wanted to talk about control environments. So everything in the news, but Neon Temple, go check that out. Let's see. Other than that, a part of my work week was doing architecture review. I was reviewing documentation. I will be going out on site in about a month to another location, and I was looking at the architecture. I was fortunate. I got some PCAPs, so I could combine some of the network communication review and also look at the implementation, some of the vendor documentation, and really kind of dive into interacting with it a little bit. And I use that to update the scripts that I have. I'm having so much fun with PyShark. I just am. PyShark is providing me so many capabilities to easily grab the information from PCAP and then use Python scripts to interact with it. Now, I know Scapy has been out there for years, but for some reason, our minds work. A lot of people's minds work around display filters, and so being able to interact with the PCAP using our what we're familiar with from a T-Shark standpoint and a Wireshark standpoint, it's been a lot of fun. It's been pretty easy. So if I wanted to build a packet, of course I'd have to go back and do kind of go back to the Scapy framework, so to allow that interaction with protocols. But if I just want to gather information, about the architecture, the systems that are out there, the protocols that they're using, and even some of the configurations of them, I can easily get that with PyShark. I can script that up, and I've actually updated the ICS PCAP viz. It's just in the development branch right now, because I'm not sure if I want it in the main branch just yet. But I'm making scripts so that you can do that information gathering. And I do think that it relates to the ICS visualization, not necessarily the graphical nature of it, but certainly, having all those scripts in one location that can help build, target lists and other things, lists of protocols and so forth, is extremely useful. So let's see. So so Wes is talking about incident response. Yeah, and whether or not they should get into it. That's an interesting question, Wes. It's the from my incident response background, thinking about what it takes to do that and maintain it, and being able to pick up and move at a moment's notice. There's as a part of IBM, when I was working for IBM, we had subscriptions. So it was really good because we could get people to be subscriptions to us. We could what that helped us do is that helped our individuals develop a relationship with those that company, with the people that we're going to be talking with. We could sit down and do tabletop sessions with them. And so I did like the subscription model because that was my first first introduction into the tabletops, where we would sit down and talk about the incident response process. Who's responsible for what assets do you have ready? Where can you collect information? Where are you going to store that information? We could ask all of those questions. And so that was really good. Where the problem came in is that moment fly away thing, meaning that you have to have somebody that's ready to fly away. If you have multiple clients, you have to have enough people to do it, because you're basically making an agreement with those people that, hey, you'll be on site within 24 hours. And while, especially in the corporate environment, a lot of corporate incident response move to that model where, hey, we're just going to send you a box. We're going to put that box on your network. You'll give it certain permissions and within your Active Directory, and that's going to allow us to go install our agents and download the information. So that is easy in the corporate environment. Think about what I just said and consider a control environment, that you're going to install a box in their system that's going to reach out and grab things. Most likely not going to happen. In other words, you have to have bodies on site. And so that's one of the first considerations that you really, I mean, that's one of the hard questions that you guys are going to have to answer if you want to get into that. So yeah, I think it's possible, but it takes a lot of dedication. And actually, if that's going to be a new team. You can't straddle your teams that are doing offensive with the defensive. And actually, if you're doing offensive and defensive right now, you can't and by defensive, I mean having people that are a managed security service provider that is monitoring the SOC, monitoring SIMs, configuring stuff. You can't saddle those people with the incident response duties. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. In other words, you have to, the incident response team, they have to develop their own tools. They have to develop their own playbooks. They have to develop their own tabletop sessions. All of that infrastructure is going to be completely new. And if you give it to the same people that you have right now, and as an extra duty, they're not going to be able to balance it, because I guarantee you, everybody that you have right now is 100% tasked. Okay. And you're either going to, you have to retask them 100% to this, or you have to get new people. So it's those are all the considerations that you should be talking about, Wes, and hopefully that helps. And I think that's a great point. Let's see what we got. Other than that, gosh, that was such a great topic, Wes. Thank you, man. Let's see. So did the architecture review, updated some scripts. I highly recommend. This is the great way to, doing PyShark, integrating with, just grabbing a PCAP and doing analysis on that with Wireshark, and then turning and doing that analysis with Tshark at the command line, and then doing Python scripts with Wireshark, with PyShark. What a great way to tune your Python skills. I mean, if that's one of your goals, tuning your Python skills, then I believe that packet analysis is a great way forward. Also, I'm hypering on it more and more, and telling people that they need that network knowledge. They need to, they're asking me, okay, what should I learn next? What courses should I take next, and so forth? And what should I be concentrating on to do better at my job? And that first thing is networking. If you don't know networking, if you haven't taken a network class, why are you waiting? Because networking, it basically connects the world. It's why we all have jobs. So, getting that improving your skills around networking is very important. All right, just going on, some of the topics, if we want to talk about different things. I was trying to find, kind of fillers, so that I figure we get about 15 minutes, but the first thing that came up is I saw a news article about the CISA this advisory, CISA advisory, and let me go ahead and pull it up. Actually, I don't want to add that one to the stream. Let's Oh, that was the old one. Let's see if I can switch it over. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. Let's get a new tab open. And basically what this is this is a pretty interesting one. So this is a one of the latest advisories. We can see that it's an alert, or I guess it's an alert, not an advisory. AA 22 277 alpha, and that's out on the CISA site. You can see the URL right here. What I'll do is I'll copy and paste this into the chat. And so that's what we're looking at right now. And basically what this is it's just talking about how Impacket was used to persist and propagate within some corporation network. So and while I think that's interesting, the actual, and I removed the link to it, so that the original link that I had to this was saying hackers. Hackers are using Impacket and exfiltration tools to steal information. I can't emphasize this enough. Hackers are not. It's not equal to criminals, and I really wish that the media would start changing the vernacular around that. Fortunately, I mean, it was one of the first reasons why I wanted to go read CISA, is CISA saying that. And when you read through here, they're not. They're talking about threat actors. They're talking about people doing things on target. So that's the first thing that I got out of this. I don't like that terminology. Call a criminal a criminal. Don't call him a hacker. But read through this. I like this alert. It talks about the actions on target. The indicators of compromise that were used. It's pretty interesting how the tools that they're talking about, the Impacket tools that they're talking about, and I use those tools a lot. If you go out to, I wish there was a good way to switch tabs in StreamYard. Yeah, it doesn't switch my tab, does it? Let's see if yeah. So but basically you can go out to the Impacket tools and I'll put that in chat as well. It's out on GitHub. Secure Auth Corporation, and what they do is they make a lot of great tools, just individual tools that are really useful and handy, and they work so well when you're on a system with it. When you're on a system within an environment, you want to gather information, you want to take action on the Active Directory or within that environment. Really consistent tools there. So I would definitely point your start investigating how to use those tools if you're on the offensive side. But what I found interesting, reading through this alert, was that they were leveraging the Python tools. So I don't know if they're using the Python version of the tools on a Linux system, or Unix-based system, or on a Windows system. Typically I would expect that those tools to be slightly different on a Windows system. And they definitely used it to compromise some Windows systems. And in this case, the other interesting thing is they attacked the Microsoft Exchange servers. Of course they did. Extremely useful, communicating with the internet. It's got that, there's a lot of traffic going back and forth, and so authentications to it and so forth. So that's it makes sense that they're using that as a staging servers, but also the access that gave them to so many other things within the environment is important. So monitoring that, the Exchange servers are some of those, extremely critical, actually critical assets within our corporate environment. So I'm just kind of reading the comments. You're trying to stay out of the comment. Yeah, that's absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it's, stay out of that conversation is the best way to do it. But you can add value, Wes. I mean, I know that you have add value, and I know you do where you can. So let's see. We got another question. Let's go back to. Let's minimize that. Another thing, Don, for expertise. What is the first two things you do to secure microwave communications? Well, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert at microwaves, Wes, but it's just technology, right? It's just technology that needs to be that needs to be implemented correctly. And so I can't tell you what the checklist is of important things to do, but certainly I would be sitting down with the personnel that understand that and looking at the question, looking at the configuration, just going. I mean, one of my favorite things to talk about when I'm, giving the class is like, hey, log into the interface. Hey, you see that tab called security? Click on that. All right, let's review all of the settings that the device provides us. Now, for some of those microwave systems, I know that they're not potentially not GUI based, but there's still configuration settings. And looking at the vendor's guides around that and reviewing their hardening stuff. Look, we're, even if we're doing offensive stuff, our goal is support. Our goal is support. Our goal is to improve the posture of that environment. And that one of the easiest ways to do that is not to pop the box and pivot through it. The easiest way to improve the security is just to review things with people and treat them as humans and understand that we need to assist them. And most of the time, what I find is that technologies are we deploy them quickly so that they work, and then we just leave them, right? We step away. And what happens is if we don't maintain that, then the systems degrade over time. Now, we might have initially configured it to be secure, or we intended to come back to it later and secure things to lock things down because we got it working. It was difficult, but we just never came back. And so those are the cases that we're trying to figure out. Now, so if the organization has not come up with a checklist themselves on how to harden that specific thing, or if they haven't gone through the guides from the vendor, I mean, first of all, I'd start there. Okay. If they are doing those things, if they've done all of that, then I'd start thinking about the gaps. Are there vulnerabilities in the system? Are there vulnerabilities in the implementation? And then start talking about what gaps does the security of this product have? And then start thinking about it. Sometimes it's patching. Sometimes it's another compensating control. But most of the time, especially in wireless technologies like this, as long as you've implemented, the biggest thing about wireless is that it is a public network and it has to be approached as a public network. And we need to talk to everybody, because if it's wireless, there's three common truths that we talk about, and that is that if it's wireless, then somebody can do a denial of service. In other words, we can jam it, or we can use the protocol to stop communications. We can always capture. And once we capture something, we can start doing analysis, meaning that we can go from the wavelengths to actually down to bits and building packets and seeing that information. And the third is that we can always communicate with it. I can always, once I know how to build a packet, I know how to modulate it, I can transmit it. And even if you think that I don't have wireless technologies, I just show up with my hack RF. And I'm local. I'm right there. I don't have to push out a lot of data, and more than likely, I can configure this in some way, or with some time, I might have to write my own firmware. Yeah, I can communicate with your microwave, and I can send packets. Okay, and so how resilient is it to that? And that's every hacker on the planet. So hopefully that helps. But just start with their documentation. The reason why I was reading documentation all this week, I want to know what the vendor's telling them to do. I mean, I've got so many ideas about how to attack this system, and it all starts with did the client and the vendor integrator implement the security settings that are documented? Most of the time, I find that the security has not been implemented, because nobody asked for it, so they just don't do it. But it's there. Somebody from the vendor did take the time to put it in there. So and I hope that helped, Wes. It's that's a common theme, but certainly we have to hear it over and over, and it's and it's something that I need to be reminded of as well, because I get head down in certain things, and I need to get that reminder of, hey, step back. Let's, there's a saying in the Marine Corps. It's smarter, not harder, because yeah, I will plow through things, and I will try to break things to accomplish my goal. And sometimes it's just as easy as asking, knocking, opening the door, which I've got several stories about just needing to open the door. So yeah, and then there's hurry up, and then there's the hurry up and wait part, which is that, yeah, that's something that I grew used to in the Marines, and it's kind of it's something that just happens in the corporate networks, especially dealing with utilities, and it's not just utilities that do this, but certainly a lot of utilities. One of the interesting things about a small consulting company is the amount of engagements that shift. They shift because people move. They shift because of lack of funds. They really shift. Engagements really shift because the vendors are trying to solve problems, and it's not in the environments are not in the states they were hoping for the testing. And I'm not trying to knock on vendors. I'm just saying that, as a part of their normal development process, sometimes things slide, and I call it the sliding window. Yeah, hurry up and wait is that sliding window that we experience in all of our projects, and definitely when we're doing security assessments and other things like that. That's a part of it. Yeah, so actually, I wanted to call this out before. So I just wrote a tool. Some of the stuff that I was writing for the PCAP visualization is I was actually going through the RockU. So I was doing some brute forcing, and I was going through the RockU database. And if you look at the RockU, that's the password database that was leaked, and when you look at that, I believe it's 14 million different passwords. And so I was like, man, it's just going to sit here and grind. It's going to grind for like 5 minutes trying to brute force these passwords. And so I was like, you know what, I should come up with a password, a progress bar. And so I started trying to come up with a progress bar. And then I found a post that pointed me to the live progress. And wow, it took me a little while to figure out how it was doing it, how to implement it with the loop. But that a live progress bar is it's really cool. So I wanted to call that out. That was something really cool that I learned today, and I've been implementing, and I am just going to use the heck out of it. I try to limit all of the modules that you have to import, because you never know what you're going to have on a specific system, but for those long tasks, having a progress bar is really good. All right, we're at 30 minutes, everybody. Kevin, Wes, very active in the chat today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for supporting us. And I really hope you have a great weekend. I hope this is kicking off your weekend well. And thank you're starting off my weekend as well. I'm gonna go outside, have a little barbecue with the boys, and just kind of hang out for a little while. But everybody, have a great week. Thank you for coming back to another Cutaway Security ICS Friday Infosec chat. We really appreciate it. If you joined us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you want to come on, if you want to talk, if you want to do anything. But other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.